hello. Dr. Lady here again. Welcome to Horror Hotel. Gee, I had wanted to talk to you about a ghost today, but none of these specter detectors seem to be detecting any specters. And gee whiz, I've got the PKE meter, the EMF meter, the ESP meter, the YETANOTHER meter. All the meters are not finding any ghosts at all. So, oh, wait a minute. This one's picking up something. It's you, though. No, that can't be right. You're not a ghost, are you? Are you a ghost? What? Oh, I see what happened. You're a future ghost, and it's already being sensitive to that. You're a future ghost. Well, clearly I need a timing chain adjustment. But since we can't seem to dig up a real ghost, we'll make do with a ghost mask. How about that? That's what you like anyway. Today I give you, well, I don't give you. I mean, I paid for it. Why should I give it to you? Be fair. Today I present for your edification and befuddlement the only guy I know who would dare enter into a hot dog eating competition with one of those guys from The Horror of Party Beach. Yes, sir, you know him, you love him, you can't die without him. SLIMER! And this is the SLIMER mask, which is a huge thing. It really is as big as it looks here, okay? See that? How much bigger? Wow, that's a lot of mask right there. And this is a 2025 SLIMER mask from the Creeps at Trick or Treat Studio. It's made of glow-in-the-dark vinyl, wow, and in the Ghostbusters movies, from which SLIMER hails, as you can see here, he does sort of emit a green glow. So he is sort of a glowing ghoulie. Now, if you don't know too much about SLIMER, he's not really one of the more evil entities of supernatural weirdness out there. I mean, he's not evil in the sense that Dracula or Michael Myers is evil. He's not that bad. He's more just mischievous and naughty. He just wants to eat all the food in sight. His favorite sin is gluttony, no doubt about that. He eats too much, and that's why it's possible for there to be such a thing as an overweight ghost. Go figure. But, you know, that's not too bad. A lot of monsters eat people, right? And at least he'll only raid your fridge and not your abdominal cavity. You know, he'll only eat your groceries, not your guts, right? And I know you don't want him eating your groceries, but, well, that's why you have to set ghost traps and things and discourage him from getting into your home where he might eat your groceries. I'm trying to hold this so you can see. Can you look at that face? It really is sculpted and molded with a beautiful combination of all the characteristics, not just the proportions and contours of it, but it really has the personality, the simple-minded but fun-loving, kind of rowdy, selfish, baby-like personality of your old buddy SLIMER, who first appeared in the 1984 movie Ghostbusters and has since then gone on to a regular movie star career, turning up in various reboots and sequels and spin-offs and video games and cartoons and so forth. Oddly enough, even though he was an antagonist who was popping out of things eating people's food in Ghostbusters the movie, by the time they got around to the cartoon series, which is quite good, by the way, it's a great cartoon if you haven't seen the 80s Ghostbusters show. You know, I think any half-hour episode of that cartoon is funnier and better written and more clever than any of the sequels, I would think. To me anyway. But if you haven't seen that show, SLIMER kind of switched sides, which means, well, he's kind of a traitor to his own kind, isn't he? I guess they probably won him over with cheeseburgers and pizzas and hot dogs and such. But on the Ghostbusters series, the animated series, he's sort of a mascot, sort of a helper, sort of a sidekick who helps the Ghostbusters, helps them in defending the world against the really bad ghosts and spirits and demonic entities of malice that are running around out there. The glow-in-the-dark vinyl SLIMER mask, I wish I could nail down a price on it. You know, we need like a stock market thing on Creepy Cheapies now because the prices go up and down so much. I need like a little counter somewhere that's like constantly going. $80, ding, $70, ding, $120, ding, $85, ding, $82.50, ding, you know, because that's how the price. But I've seen these anywhere from 70 to $100. Maybe by the time you see this, you'll be able to pick one up for $5, or maybe it'll cost you as much as a car. I don't know, but that was my awareness of him, was in the $70, $80, $90 range. That was about. Does that sound right to you? Yeah. Now, if you don't know, Slimer was originally called Onion Head. He wasn't called Slimer. He wasn't called anything in the original Ghostbusters. He didn't have a name. He was just this funny thing that came popping out and scaring people and eating their food. And his only name was Onion Head, not to be confused with the 1958 Andy Griffith movie Onion Head. No relation. He was just Onion Head because he supposedly smelled like onions. And there are two different stories for why he smelled like onions. One is that he eats a lot of hot dogs with onions and such, and he just smells like onions. And that there was a scene in the script originally where somebody commented on the fact that I smell, you know, onions, and what is that? And it was him smelling like onions. And the other story is that the original prop, and this was a practical effect back in the day. This wasn't any computer animated cartoon. This was an actual prop constructed in the studio of the legendary Steve Johnson. But the other story was that prop was, well, it was made of a combination of resins and finishes and sprays and gloss coats and things, which altogether made it smell like onions. So the guys in the effects shop referred to him as Onion Head. So I'm not sure which of those stories is true. Possibly both. Maybe neither. Slimer here, as he is called today, isn't telling. Now, what would you wear with this? I don't know. I think of it more as a prop or a collector's item, like a prop replica display piece, than a wearable mask. For one thing, the eye holes they have cut in it are laughably small and are not going to allow the wearer to do much in the way of seeing. So I would, if I were doing Horror Hotel this year and I were, you know, had one of these to use as a part of a display somewhere, I would probably have him like peering out of a window and have a black light shining on him so you get that nice green glow. I probably wouldn't try to build a mannequin figure because in the movies and the cartoons and the video games and all, Slimer never really appears as a full-size person. He's just sort of this floating blobby head guy with arms in all the different versions. And they tried to make up some backstories for him, but they're very dumb. They're not good backstories. You know, Slimer, it never works when makers of sequels and spin-offs and such try to write origin stories for someone else's character. And, well, the ones they came up with him, for him, oh my goodness. One of them is that he was originally a human called Remills. Get it? R-E-M-I-L-S, Slimer, backward. You like that idea. Oh, you thought of that. Oh, where'd you get an idea like that? Oh, Dracula. Well, it's true. Certain members of the Dracula family have used Alucard as an alias over the years. But you know what? In all those stories, somebody always figures out that it's Dracula spelled backwards. Nobody ever gets away with it, do they? No, none of the Draculas have successfully pulled that ruse off. No, you can't use Alucard either. With your appetite, you look more like a la carte. But you know, there's a reason not every word it works spelled backwards. There's a reason Frankenstein never tried to call himself Neetznecknarf. Just doesn't work. Now, if you were going to wear this, I guess if you're enormously overweight and bright green, you're all set. Other than that, if I was going to wear it at a haunted house or a haunted trail or haunted forest or something, I think the best thing to do, you're free to disagree, my choice would be to wear a non-reflective black, like something black, like a leotard, you know, or black sweats or something. If it's just black, and have a fluorescent light, have a black light on him so that you don't see the person's body, so that you would just see the head floating around like this. I would probably go for that. Or you could go for more of a silly comedy approach, I guess, and have him wearing, you know, a normal suit or something, and have it's like Slimer's big night out. Yeah, but I think I would go with the plain non-reflective black body, so they just see the head. And speaking of the head, it comes with, ah, look, an invisible ghost. Boy, that didn't make sense on any level, did it? Moving on, it comes with one of these, which is the clear plastic liner that you can stick inside there very carefully, and it will hold the face in shape so that if you put this away in the closet for the year or in your mask fan attic, it won't get crushed out of shape too badly because you've got that liner in there. I removed it for this presentation because I thought if it was in there it would make a lot of squeaks and squawks, and you know, you'd hear it the whole time. But 2025 release, sculpted by Aldo Ray, very famous actor who was in a lot of westerns and war pictures and was a big star, and then later in his career was in some low-budget horror film. What? It's not Aldo Ray? Alex Ray! Alex Ray. My dumb. Alex Ray sculpted this in well, what year were you sculpted? Probably like 23, huh? And then he was supposed to come out in time for Halloween of 24, but he didn't actually show up in time for Halloween of 24. But he showed up in plenty of time for Halloween of 25, right? Now, I don't know what year you're watching this. If it's the year 2368, well, these might not be available anymore. But I recommend the $70 or $80 or $90 or $100 Slimer from Trick or Treat. And there have been a few Slimer masks before this, but this is the best one, I think. This is the one to beat. No, don't beat Slimer. He's not that bad a guy. But you may be thinking, some of you older creeps may be thinking you remember an old Don Post one, but there never actually was a Don Post Slimer Ghostbusters mask. People tried to pass off one as Slimer from Ghostbusters because that's what inspired it. In the mid-'80s, there was a mask called Gastro, and the Don Post Gastro definitely looked like a relative of Slimer, but it was a little more human-shaped, a little more natural looking, and it was very nice sculpture. It was actually a pretty cool mask. It just wasn't Slimer. For one thing, it had prominent ears, and Slimer has no ears at all. He says, what? I said, you have no ear? Well, yeah. Anyway, Gastro was a glow-in-the-dark mask that Don Post Studios made in answer to request for Slimer masks and Ghostbuster products, but before they were marketed, mass-marketed or mask-marketed. So Gastro was kind of a under-the-radar, sort of inspired by, kind of looked like Slimer. Good old Gastro. And I only ever saw Gastro available as a glow-in-the-dark mask. I'm not aware if they ever made a, you know, like a flesh-colored version or anything, just or a normal-looking. I don't think so. I only remember seeing old Gastro. Again, very nice sculpture, just not really Slimer. And there have been other masks. And talking of Slimer reproductions, if I had lots of money, and I don't, I'd like to have a NECA life-size, NECA, N-E-C-A, made a life-size replica prop Slimer, but it's huge and it has arms sticking out and everything. It's pretty cool, but, you know, I'd rather keep my house, I guess. However, my favorite Slimer prop that I've actually been able to acquire, look at this. This is a prop Slimer that was sold at Spirit Halloween, and it was a Spirit Halloween exclusive, and it had a strange patchy history. You could get them one year and then you couldn't get them, and then they went for a lot of money, and then it went back into production and you could get them again. I'm not sure right now if they're making it or not, but it's been in production a couple of times. It's latex, it's foam filled, and I touched up the paint on this one just a bit. I didn't completely repaint it, but the paint job was very rushed, and I went back and gave it a little more tender, loving scare on this one. I did not, however, do anything to this Trick or Treat mask of Slimer, because since it glows in the dark, oh, the prop doesn't, by the way. It's just painted that greeny color, but it doesn't glow. Since this glows in the dark, you don't want too much paint on there, because every place there's paint won't glow in the dark. So, you know, I get it. That's why they don't paint every little thing in and heavily shade him. This actually looks just right, and it really captures that personality. And I would have to say it's a quality product, you know. It's the only mask with a rear end that I'm aware of. Look at that. Yeah, all right. Ready to say goodbye to him, Slimer? You know, Slimer, I got to take you with me sometime to the Bratwurst Festival in Bucyrus. Yeah, the town where I grew up. You would love the Bratwurst Festival. They have it every summer. Well, it's all about food. Oh, you'd love it. There's bratwurst and rye bread and greasy French fries in paper cups and funnel cakes, things like that, and great big giant pretzels with grains of salt the size of one of your teeth. Yeah, you can get fresh squeezed lemonade from a booth swarming with bees. It's awesome. Bourbon chicken. What else do they have at the Bratwurst Festival? Let's see. Ice cream, both hard dip and soft serve. Ice cream treats. Fruit juices, smoothies, things like that. Yeah. He says, what are we waiting for? Let's go and chow down. Ciao.